Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Ava Hunter. So glad to see you again. We've seen each other live and now we're seeing ourselves back on Zoom to talk about some of the classes that you've taught since last December on Zoom. I'm Sue Hansen from NOPL Cicero Library. And Ava is a guild member, CNY, I want to say it correctly, CNY Central New York Art Guild, yes. And the talk is about not only the techniques, but what items will be on display at NOPL Cicero inside the library. That people, now that you can come in, you can see what the Art Guild has been doing and local artists. And I welcome Ava.
Thanks for having me again. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun teaching for NOPL Cicero and meeting all of the lovely students that I've met, and we're just having a great time. So thanks for having me come again. So yeah, we started with Shibori. It was one of the first classes that I taught, and we wound up needing to do that virtually. Actually, every class except one has been virtually, and I think it's worked out very well. The feedback from the students is very positive, so I thought we'd talk about Shibori. So Shibori is an ancient Japanese art form that creates pattern and texture in fabric from just folding it. And traditionally, it's done using an indigo dye, which creates this lovely dark blue color and these patterns. And there's I think 7 different patterns that is traditional in the Shibori technique. And I taught all 7 of them to the students, but because of the chemicals and the sometimes touchy nature of indigo and the challenges of sometimes creating an indigo vat. Plus an indigo vat is going to make you, I've got a 5-gallon bucket of it because I use it so much, and reducing it down, the recipe for my individual students for their kits, that was going to be too much of a challenge. And so what we did was, instead of the traditional indigo color, our students were able to learn how to mix cold water Procyon dyes, which are much easier and user-friendly to learn. And they created Shibori. They still made Shibori patterns in their fabric, but they had different colors that they could choose from. So I have an example here of a purse that one of the students made, and she did a Shibori technique on it. It's a little hard to tell on this little bitty camera that I have, but this creates, she used a technique that creates sort of like a wave pattern in the fabric. And I know you have a pillow there.
Yeah, so let me see if I might be able to spotlight myself right now. Let me see if that will work.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah, I could see the pillow. That looks
that
looks nice. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's another technique and another color.
Okay. And
they had their choice of like a rainbow of colors, but they were all Procyon cold water dyes rather than the indigo. Someday we'll get there with the indigo vat, and we'll let them all dip into the vat and create these, these nice, beautiful blue colors that you can create using indigo. But for the class, it worked out, I thought, very well using Procyon dyes. So
I'm going to try and see if you can see this as well. This is from Andrea.
Yeah, that looks kind of solid to me.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. You can't see the pattern in it. Yeah, and I don't have anybody else's pieces here for the Shibori, but yeah, so we did that. And the nice thing about doing these classes was having each student be able to have their complete kit, so that they had all the supplies they needed, all measured out for them with instructions, and then they would log in, and each week, I think Shibori was 3 or 4 sessions. I don't
Yep,
remember.
it was 3. We should have had
Three?
3. Yeah.
And, it was nice. They could follow along. Every session was, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what you need to prep. And they just followed along with me, and they learned as I went through the demo. And then they would have time afterwards, in between the weekly sessions to prep for the next one, finish what they were working on. And I think that was a really, really good way of doing it. I'm really appreciative that the library, excuse me, was able to get those kids and do that for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
And then, in the time that we're able to plan, there are some ideas of sometimes not using a kit, but using what you've got of your own through making paper beaded jewelry. We talked about one of the artists who would be more than willing to do it. And that brings down the cost of the classes. And sometimes, we want to go that direction. And in this case, there were a lot of, as you said, there were a lot of parts to the Shibori.
Yeah.
And I'll recognize that.
Yeah, there were a lot of parts, but I think with a little ingenuity, we managed to get them what they needed. And I think some of them are still experimenting with their the colors.
Oh, definitely.
So
I was going to show you this one as well.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Making jewelry bag or makeup bag.
Mhm.
I've got Mary's name on there, but yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
you can do, and it's a zipper top. So
Yep. Yeah.
there's
A
also
lot
a
you can do.
jacket.
Yep. We did the Shibori on just plain old cotton muslin. And you can do it on any fabric that's a natural, like you can't, I don't really recommend using things like polyester. So things like cotton, denim, gauze, those are great things to do Shibori with. You can do t-shirts, the t-shirt fabric will work too. We've all done those tie-dye shirts. So that's sort of the same technique.
And it's kind of a shout out to the teens at North Syracuse are going to do that this summer.
Oh, fun. Good.
Actually, all I think it's all levels. But yeah, that'll be something fun in July.
That'll be really nice. Yeah, they'll enjoy that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they'll enjoy that. And then I think part of after Shibori, we did the Serti technique.
I think I have something here.
And
this is a good example, but
yeah, no. So Serti is when you paint on silk, and Serti is a resist. It means so I'll show this example. Okay, can you see? Yeah. So there's a bird here on a little tree branch, and so you see these black lines that are on here.
That's a better view right there when you're focusing on the glass. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Got it.
So Serti is when you take a piece of silk and you outline using a resist material. And so all those black lines is the resist material. It's called Guta resist. And then you fill in with color. And we used Dynaflow, which is a really nice beginner product to use for people. And so you paint in between the lines, and those resist lines that you've got in there prevent the colors from oozing out from the design that you're trying to keep it within. And so they did that. They did a little size hanky. They did one of those. And then they did the scarf like you showed. That's a different technique using the Dynaflow fabrics. But that's more of a watercolor effect on a silk scarf. Serti is the one where it's all of resist. And yeah, I don't have any more.
How about yeah, I don't think I do.
I have some of mine if I could grab one of mine, but this is about the students, so I don't know if you want me to do that.
You want to grab one of those? That's
sure. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So this is the closest one I could I could grab. This is a Serti technique that I did. This is a little scarf, and you can see the little turtle, and then in the center there's the black squares, and then there's turtle and turtle, turtle. And so what I taught them as part of this technique, after you've got your design colored in, you set it. It's a heat set process. So they set the color, and then you wash out all of that resist material, all these little black lines in here. They get washed out because it gets kind of like puffy, I guess, that resist. So you just wash it out after you heat set first, and then you wash it out. And then it's color fast. This can be washed and worn and washed again. And yeah, it stays nice and set.
So if you wanted to wear these items, a lot of these are wearable art
absolutely.
pieces. That's what's so great about it, is you can bring it out to people's appreciation that would not have ever known, and you can tell them all about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a unique piece of art. It's a unique thing to add to your wardrobe, a unique accessory. No one else is going to have it. They're very, very, no one can copy it. You know what I mean? Like you could do a scarf with turtles on it that won't look like mine, and they won't look like Mary's or Andrea's or anybody's. They're all different. And that's one of the reasons why I love to teach this way. I don't want a cookie cutter, everybody does the same. I don't, it's not, that's for me, that's not what I want for people. I want people to explore their creativity. Here are the tools. Here's how you use them. Now go have fun, go explore, go experiment. And if you have questions, call me.
So there's just one relationship I wanted to bring up, Ava, to the art world, and that is that this is a very ancient form, the Shibori, well, between the Shibori and the Serti.
Yeah.
It goes way back.
Yeah, they
So
do.
when it was very finely ornate, and it was, it wasn't just coloring in, which is, I want to say not coloring in, but filling in. So the resist keeps everything there. It was a lot of the paint was applied in a particular fashion to show.
Yeah.
In Asian, flowers, ponds, water scenes were done.
Yeah.
Now it's just it's open to any interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of those that you see, like there's a lot of like even the boutique technique uses a resist, and they're just amazing how the results you can get. And for a beginning level, this was about as far as I thought people could go. You definitely can expand on it and do more. Like I do really long scarves with the Serti technique. I don't have any to show you because they're all sold. It's great.
That's good.
It's like, well, I don't have any. But yeah, the intricate designs that you can do with this is very good. You need a steady hand, but there's so much potential for creativity out there.
I look forward to trying this again. Of course, we'll, when we do this, we'll probably not do it right away, but in the future, we'll certainly have to offer it.
Good.
Offer it up. And especially when there's a holiday coming up and someone wants to give their husband a tie in the class.
Yes.
We had one student wanting to do that.
To do a tie?
Yep. To make her husband a tie. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I think that was what she did after she took your Serti technique.
Nice. Good. See, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. Like learn the skills, learn about the materials, and then go try something. Don't be afraid to experiment. I experiment all the time. If you look at any of my artwork, it's a mix of many techniques. So absolutely, I encourage anyone to just give it a try. Just relax, give it a try. If it doesn't work exactly the way you are expecting it to, then I call that a teachable moment, and you use it to move forward. That's how you should approach things for art.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah. Okay, so then we did alcohol inks.
I
right?
have
That
some
was our
samples.
most,
Yep, I have a couple examples of
I
that.
have several. I think alcohol inks is so much fun. I love the medium, and I really love showing what you can do with it beyond the traditional, everybody learns on ceramic tiles. That's the first thing you learn when you're doing alcohol inks, usually, is how to put it on a ceramic tile. Because a ceramic tile is, it's small, it's not scary to approach,
Mhm.
and it's just it's much more it's approachable. I don't think it's very intimidating. You hand somebody a 4-inch tile and say, here, go for it. It's not very intimidating. So most people learn using their alcohol inks on a tile. And what I like to do is show you how to get started in the beginning, and what the medium can do. But then I like to push you a little and give you ways to use the same medium, but in different ways. And so one of the things that I like to show people when I'm teaching them alcohol inks is obviously, the beautiful art you can create. So this is a piece that one of the students did. And she took the technique of applying the inks onto a tile, and she applied it onto, excuse me, a piece of Yupo paper, which is also a non-porous surface. And she made this really, it's beautiful. I don't know if you could see up close. Are you getting off the glare?
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Okay.
I was
So
gonna
she
grab.
did a really, really nice job with this. And then, so a lot of times when people are using alcohol inks, they're using it in the basic form. They're creating those beautiful blooms and the cells, and that's it. But you can take alcohol up a notch, and you can apply images over the top of your inks, as long as you know the secret, which I teach, on how to add images onto your inks without the inks all bleeding. The thing about alcohol inks is that they are reactive. This can be dry for months, and as long as it's not sealed, these inks will react if you put more alcohol inks on them. So I teach them how to do this. So excuse me, this was what I demoed. Kitty's on a wire. And then this is what one of the students did, and she did a great job. That's pretty cool. And then I also showed how to even go back into your piece once you've added images over your inks. You go back in and you can fill in, I don't know if you can see this, you can fill in with, creatures, blue-footed boobies, and then you can create cells within those areas without affecting what's going on behind it. So there's a lot you can do with alcohol inks.
I have something here. I think this is Joanne.
Yes, I maybe because I'm not sure, but yeah, she did that as
There's
part
some
of
gold.
the demo for this
There's
one.
some very close up. There's a bit of gold
Yeah,
along. So that could be, so she can continue to work on this then.
absolutely. As long as she
Okay.
hasn't sealed it, she can
Right.
still create those blooms. She can get the alcohols to react. If she sealed it, then she could go ahead and add images.
Doesn't look like it is. I don't think that I see a shine. It's sort of still kind of textural.
Yeah. So she
might
could
be
keep
still working on that.
Yeah. And then another, this is a student, we also did glass ball ornaments as part of the alcohol ink class. Trying to make sure you
How
can
does
see.
that work? How do you get the shine? I mean, what is the process if you want to get into the steps?
Sure. So I'll show you. So she did, the way she did hers, trying to see. Yeah. Okay. So what I teach them is to, I don't know if you could see, they paint the inside of the ball with white acrylic paint. They just squeeze it in there, shake it up, and the whole thing gets covered on the inside with white paint, which makes the alcohol inks show up much more opaque. You know, you can't see through the colors into the ball. And she did the same thing. Hers has a lighter application of the white on the inside. So you're seeing a little bit through, which is a really nice effect. You get sort of a stained glass effect. So here's another one. This was filled with white also. So you can see like this one seems more stained glassy, and this one is more of an opaque kind of color. So they do that. They fill the inside, let it drain, and then using the alcohol inks with canned air, like, you know what I mean, right? With the canned air, they spray the inks around and blow it around and get these really, really pretty effects with the swirls on here. Just gorgeous. It's just, I love it. It's beautiful. And then you seal them, and you seal them to protect the ink, and then you seal them with a UV spray so they don't fade, and then you seal them again to hold all that together and bring up some of the shine, because alcohol inks will sometimes dry with a matte effect, and if you want it to be shiny, you have to put a spray shine on there. So that is one.
I have one extra I can grab. And I believe
I
this
love
is
the
one.
allergies.
Yep.
Oh yeah, yep, that's another one with she did the white paint on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah, very nice. And
So-
some of them they did black paint on the inside. Do you have one of them?
Yes, I think this is it.
Oh, it's hard. I can't tell. It's kind of hard.
It's like, yeah, I won't be able to open it up, but
Yeah. So yeah,
that's the effect.
same technique. Black paint on the inside. You know, shake it around, get it all covered, and then apply your inks to the outside, and it gets has a really beautiful effect. Really, really nice. Yeah.
So the multimedia, it's the glass, there's tile that you can apply, there's the paper.
Yupo paper.
Yupo paper, that's what I.
So the thing with keep in mind when you're using alcohol inks is they will you'll get the best effects if you use them on a non-porous surface. But you just reminded me, in the class, I showed them how to apply alcohol inks on canvas. Remember? And and there's a specific technique for that, and a specific way you have to prepare the canvas, because canvas is a porous surface. If you apply inks right onto a non-prepared canvas, they'll just, you know, get stuck right in.
Yep.
And I have one of my pieces. I don't think anybody had one that they brought to you. Do you have any on canvas?
I do. Let me see.
Oh, okay. I'll go grab mine in the meantime.
Ready?
Yeah, I grabbed mine too. So yeah, see, I'm not, is it a canvas?
It is.
Okay.
And so there was something applied prior to, and I think this is, I don't know if it's sealed. She might still be working on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
But
not
these-
sure about that one.
Go ahead.
So this is a big canvas. There's no way I can get it all in to this shot. This is 24 by 36 inch canvas, and I prepared it, and I did the part of it as part of the demo for class, and then I worked on it afterwards and in between and for a while. So I did the same technique on this. I prepared the canvas and then applied the the alcohol inks to all this background here. all the background. And then once that was dry, then I added the fence, and there's a little bunny. There's a little bunny rabbit now. And it's probably gonna get a dragonfly or two. So I don't feel like this is finished yet. I mean, it's there, but I think I want to add dragonfly.
So that's the love of it, is you can continue on
Yeah,
and maybe get a kind of like when you're writing. I do this when I
Right.
have to write something, get away from it, get back to it, maybe get some inspiration in nature. Mostly nature is
mostly nature.
what I
yeah.
see
Yeah.
depicted. I see there's trees, I've seen some other examples, birds, but going
Mhm.
online, when you look, and as I say, this is the art form on canvas is different than the fabric. It's going to come out as a different motif or theme or something,
Mhm.
that the pressure is not there. It's, I think I love canvas versus the fabric, because it seems like fabric, you can't go back
Yeah.
as many times with fabric.
Yeah. You like you mean like for the Shibori
Yes.
stuff? Yeah, you can usually apply dye colors 3 times, and then after that it starts to get muddy. So you could, in theory, go back and over dye your Shibori, but you have to keep in mind, what color's already on there, what color you're going to apply on top of it, because they will mix. They will visually mix, meaning that for example, if you've got yellow on your fabric and you go and you apply red to it, it's going to mix in the fab. The two colors don't blend. The red over the top of the yellow will make it look orange, but the colors aren't necessarily remixing per se. And that's what I mean by visually mixing. So for example, if you were to paint something yellow and then apply red over it, a transparent glaze of red even will make that look orange to our eyes. We'll mix it in our eyes. So that's
So
what I
do
mean.
you get into color theory in any of the, like the watercolor, I would assume?
Yeah, everything that you do artistically, you have to consider color theory. I when I, in my classes, I talk about it as it applies to the lesson for the day. I get into it more when I teach painting, obviously, but even like the composition. When you're composing a drawing, you still have to keep in mind, if you're going to apply color later on, how is that going to affect your composition? And you just have to, it almost becomes second nature. Not for everybody, some people always, are going to have to think about it, but what I tell people is, if you're looking at a piece of artwork, whether you created it or somebody else has created it, and there's just something about it, like you're just like, you don't like it for whatever reason, if you can't place a reason why, it might be the colors are weird. It might be the color is off. The colors aren't working well together. And it's like, that could be a whole class on color theory. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to consider when you're working with color.
So in this case, I'm just looking back at what Jean had done. This is Jean Savos.
Yeah.
Her whole technique may have been to explore what the medium is doing, rather
Right.
than having any intention of doing. To me, it looks, she has a completed work that's framed.
Well,
That will be on display, and I believe that was intended when you framed something. She's
yeah,
she's got it.
well, that's the thing though. If you hand something and you say, here, put this on display, as an artist, I'm saying I'm done.
Yes.
So I'm assuming that because she gave that to you to put on display, she is done. I want to go backtrack for 1 second from what you said, though, is the purple and the pink, and you're thinking it's just what the colors did.
Yes.
But she picked up those colors, she applied them, they were intentional marks. So
Okay.
I'm thinking, this color wise, this works. They're in the chromatic family.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking it was intentional. I don't think it was just a matter of, oh, oops, look what the inks did. I think it was
Okay.
intentional. Yeah,
It's just a
absolutely.
question that I had, and when you're looking at a piece of artwork, you want to know what the intent was. And I think in her eyes, she was intending to go with that color scheme.
Yep. Yeah. And the
Lightning.
thing with color, when you're learning about color theory, is you learn that the placement of color, when you as the artist select a place on your canvas to put that color, there's a reason why you're putting that color there, or at least there should be. And then you know too, color follows color. And what I mean by that is if you have a painting, like she's got a painting, it's hot pink and purple and magenta, all of those colors. What would happen to your eyes, Susan, if she had a little tiny speck of fluorescent green? And I'm just pulling that out because it's like, wow, that's a really bright color. But what if she had a piece, a spot of that color, like over here, and then she had another one over here, little, very subtle colors, bits of that same color here, and it's not all over the place, but some here, here, here. What would your eyes do?
It would be maybe, I'm not sure it would be subtle, but it would be brought over more focused onto that.
Yeah. So the saying, when I say color follows color, your eyes will go, ooh, you'll spot that green, and your eyes will go, ooh, I really like that. And you'll look for more. You might not realize, like, consciously that you're doing that, but your eyes will search for those colors. And as an artist, we want to keep people engaged in our work. We want to keep them focused in our piece. So we strategically place color, we place line and shadow on purpose in order to keep the viewer's eyes continuously engaged in our piece. And we want to have them moving in and around the piece, not in and out, because then they're on to the next one. So it's a strategic skill, technique to learn. And I don't think you could ever know too much about color theory and composition. I always learn something new, whether it's by happy accident or, I've taken a class or something, but yeah, you can always learn more.
A little bit about the classes that have been exploring. Not only are the techniques that we've been using, like the alcohol or the medium per se, but what are some things that you might project later for folks who are brand new, that haven't done any of this artwork at all? What would be a great starting point, you think?
For the same mediums?
Or I would think, or just to explore, let's say, getting back to the fabric, just a plain fabric.
Sure.
And,
Okay.
and what do I do? This is my first time. I'm a blank slate.
Yeah. Well, I think Shibori is a very approachable technique to learn for a beginner. If you don't know anything about it, it's very, it can sound overwhelming at first, when you think about Protean dye and all of that, but it's
Yes,
not.
I was.
Very right. But I think if you just take it, someone, that can break it down step by step and answer the questions that you will have. I think Shibori is a very easy entry level into exploring with textiles, because you can take Shibori and you can paint on it too. I mean, you can apply and mix your mediums. Once you learn them, you can use them other ways. So I would say definitely Shibori and the Serti technique are very approachable for beginner, beginner level. I would also see like any sort of beginning drawing classes, painting classes, whether it's acrylic, pastel, watercolor. They're all very approachable as long as you break them down for, entry level. And they're very approachable. And I think even the alcohol inks, I would
Mhm.
say teach that again, and you don't have to pick me all the time as the instructor. I love it when you do, but alcohol inks are also a very approachable medium for people to use, and they're so fun. I mean, you get instant gratification when you start playing with them. Just a couple of dabs on that first tile you create, and they're just like, what? They're mesmerizing. As far and like I could also see, I think like you mentioned the tie. Someone wanted to make a tie, and then after the class, she went and she did that. You could do water marbling there.
I think
It might not.
I'm not sure if that's what this was.
No, that wasn't.
No, okay.
Water marbling is, I don't have any. I have a gallery that picked up all of my scarves and she's selling them at her gallery right now. Otherwise, you know what I can show you? I can show you a tie that has the water marble effect. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Yes, so water marbling it's a different technique. Again, very approachable. So I water marble on bow ties. So here's a bow tie that I just pulled off of my.
Oh, nice.
So water marbling, you dip the blank down into the tray of color that you have manipulated. It's the best way I can think of, and you create these patterns. This is a tie. Show it this way, maybe.
Yeah.
Create these patterns in the color, and then you place the tie over top and lift it up, and boom, you've got this gorgeous, fun, funky tie. I sell these like crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You might have one customer over here.
That's fine. And I teach this. I teach this in my studio. The tray, obviously, that you place this tie in is as long as this whole tie.
Don't get hurt.
Yes, beat myself with it. So you have to have, the tools to do it. But you could teach it. I'm thinking you could teach it through the library. You could do these small little hankies and a smaller, like a little smaller tray. So that could be something that.
I think that brings back to what, for a beginner who was really happy with the alcohol, the techniques with cotton. I think you used certain implements. With Shibori, it was using some, putting in some texture or using rocks.
Yeah.
Tying the rocks or using boards and doing a folding technique.
Yes.
To get those rays in the fabric. And it's similar with alcohol ink. It's using different implements.
Yes.
Not just the simple ones, but maybe you might wind up going to the art store and buying any particular one. I know the Gouda is different as well, because that's using a straight edge type of thing. Mm-hmm. But the whimsical kinds of what tools would be approachable for new ones.
Oh, for alcohol inks?
Yeah, for alcohol.
Simple. Paper towel. I showed in the class how to do a couple of different techniques using a paper towel to get a textural background. You could use a brush, a paintbrush, simple paintbrush. You could use a Q-tip. To put some of those designs in. You could use a kitchen sponge. I mean, things you would have around the house.
Sure.
But if I'm always like, I love our local art store. I'll give them a shameless plug anytime. At the art store on Erie Boulevard, you can find anything you want. Pretty much anything you want. And if you can't find it, if they don't have it, they'll find it for you and they'll get it. So absolutely, you can find they make specific tools for applying alcohol ink, and you can put like a little sponge on the end of it, and they sell them, and you can apply the inks, that way. You can just paint the inks on. You can just drop the inks from the bottle that they come in. You could use an eyedropper if you wanted to get much more, minuscule drops.
Yep.
Yeah, very, very approachable. That's the thing. It's like you don't have to go out and spend a ton of money either. If this is something you've never done before and you're not sure, the last thing you want to do is go, spend $50 on a bunch of stuff you might not ever use again and you might not enjoy.
Yeah.
So I say go get a couple of inks and try it. They don't cost $1 million. They're not expensive. You can buy like we had for the kits, we had a set, but you can buy the bottles individually. If you just want to try, just try it. You've never done it. I would say get 2 or 3 colors that you like.
Okay. Yep.
And play with them. Watch some, I don't know, Eva Hunter art videos, or, Google how to use them. But yeah, they're very approachable.
Well, that wraps it up. I think that's pretty much where this all came from, is your ideas and the kits. And of course, people can sign up. Nothing is untouchable. Of course, we can try. Jewelry is kind of the next thing I'm thinking of in the coming fall. And I thank you very much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. There's so much more that you can do with art, like even acrylic pouring, which we didn't even talk about, but that's another very approachable, fun class to do. But
I think everybody had a great time, and we look forward to having folks come and check out the collections and what the artists have done. They'll be all over when you walk into the building and see things on the walls and out in the back, on the magazine area, in the front, our curio cabinet. So we're really glad that this came to be, and look forward to more.
And I will have these back to you so you can add them to your display.
All right.
Are you there today?
I'm going to close out. Thanks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.